Finding your next job is easier than you think. I'm Ashley, the lead mentor with Mentor Me, and I'm going to talk to you about the number one strategies I teach my mentees to help them find and secure their next role. I hate complacency. I hate when high achieving professional women feel stuck, and often you feel stuck in a job where you feel overworked and underpaid and undervalued. And so a big part of my work is helping women find and secure higher paying, higher level roles. And a big part of that's the strategy for finding and securing higher level, higher paying roles is to have a strategy to do that, right? Too often what I see is that women experience frustration and annoyance and anger and disappointment and disillusionment in their job. And so they're like, I need to find a new job, right? And it feels like this really rash, really quick decision. And so, they get on monster.com or they get on LinkedIn or, they Google search jobs in X field near me or something, and they just go about applying for random jobs. Well, flat out, that doesn't work, right? And I hear this time and time again from professional women, that doesn't work. And so what we really need to do is have a strategy that can yield results in your job search. And so I'm going to talk about the strategies that I teach my mentees to help them find and secure new jobs, and how you can implement those same strategies to help you make more money and have more impact at work. So the number one strategy that we really want to employ when we're job searching is being very clear on exactly what we're good at. I know this may seem like a no-brainer, but one of the biggest gaps in professional women finding and securing new jobs is actually knowing what they're good at, and knowing how what they're good at is aligned with what the industry wants out of professionals today. So often when I talk to women, they're like, yeah, I'm a team player, I'm a hard worker, I'm a fast learner, I'm a person who can get it done. And those just are not the ways that you need to articulate your skill set when you're applying for jobs. That may have been the way that you articulate your skill set, in high school or fresh out of college, but so many professional women are well beyond that. They've been working in their industry 5, 7, 10, 15, 20 years. And just saying you're a quick learner, and you're, committed to success isn't going to be a winning strategy for you finding and securing a higher level, higher paying role in today's competitive labor market. And so instead, what we need to do is make sure that we're clear on exactly what we're good at and how to clearly, confidently, and concisely articulate what we're good at to employers in a meaningful way. So that honestly starts with being able to understand what you're good at and how to translate that in a way that is going to make employers take notice. So the primary strategy that I use for that is that we need to interrogate yourself. What are you good at? What skills, what knowledge, what talent, what expertise, what degrees, what credentials, what certifications, how many years of experience do you have, right? And writing that down and getting clear on exactly what you're good at. Have you managed teams? Have you managed budgets? Have you managed projects? Have you managed people? Have you been responsible for updating systems or streamlining systems? Have you been responsible for starting new programs or projects? Have you been responsible for sunsetting programs and projects? Have you done something that's made the organization money, saved the organization money, helped spend money that need to be spent? Have you acquired new clients, new students, new assets for the company? Have you helped them let go and release assets that were no longer serving them, right? So much of the work that you do is impactful, and so much of the work that you do can really help you find and secure a new job, but we've got to get clear on exactly what you're good at and the outcomes that you've driven up to this point in your career. So many of you are doing really meaningful work and you don't realize it. You don't recognize it as meaningful work. And so a big part of my work is to help you recognize it, right? To help you get clear on what you're good at. So I and I work together. We're going to go through your background. We're going to go through your skill set. We're going to go through every job you've ever had. And we're going to line by line get clear on what you're good at and help you learn how to articulate what you're good at a higher level. So that's our first thing that we're going to do together. We're also going to spend some time really getting clear on what you're not good at? Girl, what do you not know how to do? What skills, what knowledge, what talents do you not have? And I think that so often people are afraid to confront what they're not good at. People are afraid to confront what they don't know. People are afraid to confront what they don't understand. And not knowing what you're good at, not being able to confront the gaps will prevent you from securing a higher level role. Why? Because every employer can smell inauthenticity a mile away. If you don't have any gaps, if you don't have any lacks, like if everything is a strength for you, that reads as inauthentic. That reads as unclear. That reads as, not genuine. And you certainly don't want to show up as disingenuous in your materials or in an interview or anything like that. So it's important to know and be able to clearly, confidently, and concisely articulate what you're good at, but it's equally important to know what you're not good at so that you can adequately talk about your areas for growth and development as a professional. So we need to get clear on what we're good at. We need to get clear on what we're not good at. And number 3, we need to get clear on what we value, what skills, or what our value set is. Do we value family, or are we valuing building wealth? Do we value ease of process? Do we value autonomy? Do we value faith? Are we a person who values systems and processes, right? Like, what do you value? And what you're good at, what you're not good at, and what you value should guide your decision making, right? And once we've identified those things, right? Once we've done that work to, comb through our background, comb through our skill sets, get clear on what we're good at, raise the skill articulation on what we're good at, understand what we're not good at, understand what we value and how those values guide our decision making, then we can really get into finding our next role, because we can so clearly see what roles are a good fit for us, what job opportunities, what higher level roles, what higher level portfolios are a good fit for us, and what roles might not align. And one of my favorite ways to do this is to pull up a job description with my mentees and just scan the job description. I think knowing how to read a job description, knowing how to read a job post, and knowing how to scan it for if it's a good fit for you is a valuable skill. And this is one that I teach in my programs, right? So let's say we pull up a job description. Typically, a job description is going to have, 10, maybe 15 bullet points on it, right? So what you want to do is you want to pull up that job description and you want to be able to read line by line by line and be able to ask yourself a very specific question. Do I have demonstrated experience doing what's asked here? Again, do I have demonstrated experience doing what asked? Not do I want to do it? I always wanted to learn that? I've heard of it before, but I ain't never done it. Like, do you have experience doing the thing that they are asking you to do in the job post, right? And this is a yes or no question. This isn't to a percentage point. This isn't maybe a little bit or yeah, I've heard of that. This is like, yes, I have demonstrated experience or no, I do not. And what I mean by demonstrated experience is you can recall a specific example of when you've done that before, right? You can recall a specific example of when you've done that before. Not when somebody else did it, not when you observed it being done, but when you've done it before. So you want to ask yourself, do I have demonstrated experience doing this thing that I'm being asked to do, right? So you want to do that. You go line by line. So let's just say there are 10 bullet points. Yes on the first one, no on the second one. Yes, yes, yes on the next, 3 or 4. No, yes, 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 no, right? You go through every line of the 10. You can say confidently that 7 out of the 10 you have demonstrated experience with. If that's true for you, then that's a job that you should apply to. That's the win. That's the success, right? If you can confidently say, yes, I have demonstrated experience with 7 out of the 10 bullet points, then you can confidently apply for that job. It's called the 70% rule. And it's a strategy that I teach my mentees when they're evaluating job posts. We want to be able to evaluate, do I have demonstrated experience doing 70% of the tasks that are assigned in this role? If so, yes, that's going to make you a fairly competitive applicant, and you can confidently apply for that role and position yourself as a top candidate. If you have less than 70%, it doesn't mean that you can't apply to the role. It just means that you likely won't be as competitive. And honestly, if you have more than 70%, it may mean that it's a role that you're overqualified for, and you should be seeking out higher level, more competitive roles. right? This strategy is a game changer for my mentees, because no more are they like, well, I don't know if this role is a good fit. I think it might be a good fit, but I'm not sure. Girl, there's math. Math is available to us. And whether they have 15 bullet points or 40 bullet points or 7, you can quickly go through, say yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, do the math, and quickly decide if this role is a good fit for you, right? And I love this rule because it eliminates the guesswork, right? Finding your next job is easier than you think, because you can use the 70% rule to clearly, confidently, and concisely go through a job post, identify if you have demonstrated experience with most of the things, or with 70% of the things that are listed, and easily and confidently apply for that role. So some of the questions I get asked when I'm talking about the 70% rule is like, Ashley, what if there are like minimum requirements and maximum requirements, right? Like, how do I sort through that? So the number one thing I like to say is that generally you do want to be minimally qualified. So if they're like, you need to have 3 years of experience, you need to have a master's degree, blah, 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 or equivalency, you typically want to meet the minimum requirements. When we're using the 70% rule, we're typically talking about the job competencies. So typically on a job posting, they're going to have like a description of the job, they're going to have some core job competencies, and they're going to have minimum requirements. So really what you want to be focused on are the core job competencies for that 70% rule. That's what you want to be looking at. Next, people will ask me like, well, Ashley, what if I'm like 68.3%? Like, should I apply? Girl, you're overthinking it. It's the 70% rule. If you have 70% of the competencies, apply for the job. If you do not have 70% of the competencies, it doesn't mean you can't apply for the job. It just means that you might not be as competitive as other people. And if you have more than 70%, I'm not saying you can't apply for the job either, but you might want to look for higher level roles, because you probably are going to be seen as overqualified for that role, because you basically can do all the stuff that they're asking you to do. And most employers want to hire someone in the 70% range. Why do they want to hire someone in that range? Because it's like, you know how to do most of the role, but you're coachable and capable to growing and learning, and employers want to hire people who are coachable and capable and can elevate in the role. Nobody wants to hire somebody who already knows how to do all of the things, because I'm not going to be able to retain you. You already know how to do everything. You probably going to bounce in, 3 months, 6 months, a year. And I don't want to do this process over again. So let me find someone who's 70% competent, right? And so I think that so often women, and high achieving professional women in particular, are so nervous. Like, I got to meet 100% of the competencies. Well, I don't have this thing, so I'm not going to apply. And you start talking yourself out of a $30,000 salary increase because you don't meet 100% of the requirements. Listen to me when I say this. No employer wants somebody who meets 100% of the requirements, because that person is a liability. And you should not want a job where you meet 100% of the qualifications, because it's a liability to you. Do you understand, sis, that when you apply for a job and let's say you get the job where you know how to do everything, do you understand how bored you finna be after onboarding? 3 months in, you looking for a new job because you already know how to do all of this, and this is boring, and they ain't even paying. Like, you are so overqualified that you're basically trying to find other stuff to do. Now you're resentful because you're doing things that they're not paying you for. But girl, that's your fault. Did nobody tell you to apply for a job where you already know how to do everything? You need to be applying for jobs where you can have growth and development in role, right? That's critically important for career satisfaction and career success. My most satisfied mentees, the women who are thriving in career, are in challenging roles that are interesting and intriguing and allow them to do new and different things and get on projects that they don't know anything about. If you already know how to do literally everything, there's no ingenuity in the role. There's no innovation in the role. There's no growth in the role. You're just there. Right? And so you want to position yourself as an expert when you apply for roles. So you really want to focus on your expertise in that 70%. So finding your next job is easier than you think. You do not have to be searching for jobs for weeks, months, and years. You can leverage the skills, knowledge, talent, expertise, degrees, credentials, certifications, years of experience you already have. And one of the quickest strategies to do that is twofold. Number one, get clear on exactly what you're good at. Get clear on what you're not good at, and get clear on what you value. That trifecta, what I'm good at, what I'm not good at, what I value, that trifecta is going to be critical for you in identifying roles that are aligned with your skill sets. Once you've done that and you've identified roles that are aligned with what you're good at, what you're not good at, and what you value, then you can apply the 70% rule. You want to look at those competencies, go through them. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, yes, yes. If you hit 70%, that's a role that you want to apply for. That means you're going to be more competitive for that role than other applicants. If this was helpful for you, please let me know. I would love to get some feedback from you. And I want to share that I'm accepting new mentees. So if you're a professional woman who works in corporate, nonprofit, or educational leadership, and you need more support to help you make more money or have more impact in your career, you can schedule a call with me. It's a no-cost call, but it's a great opportunity for us to talk about your career, to understand what's working well in your career, what's not, and to help you identify how you can elevate your career through career coaching and executive coaching through Mentor Me. Thanks so much for watching. Talk soon. Bye.